At 17, Marcus had 3 things to his name: a worn-out backpack, a library card, and a dream that nobody, not a single person in his life, believed in. This is the story of what happens when one person refuses to accept the life the world handed him.
Eastfield wasn't a place that raised dreamers. It was a place that survived. The apartments were small, the nights were long, and hope was something people stopped talking about after a while. Marcus's mother, Diana, worked 2 jobs and still came home with tired eyes and empty hands. His father had been gone since Marcus was 6. No calls, no letters, just silence where a father should have been.
School was the one place Marcus felt safe. Not because it was easy, it wasn't, but because it was warm and quiet and full of books that took him somewhere else. He read about entrepreneurs who started with nothing, inventors who were laughed at, ordinary people who built extraordinary lives. While other kids counted down to the bell, Marcus was counting pages. His uncle meant well. Most people who crush your dreams do. He sat Marcus down one afternoon and said, "Boy, people like us don't get to dream like that. The sooner you accept it, the easier life gets." Marcus looked him in the eye, nodded politely, and went home and read until midnight, because he had already made a decision that his uncle didn't know about yet. At 19, Marcus made his move. He counted $80, every dollar he had saved, laid it on the table, and borrowed a pressure washing machine from a neighbor. He printed flyers at the library, slipped them under doors at 6 a.m. before anyone was awake. He didn't have a business plan. He didn't have a mentor. He just had a borrowed machine, a stack of paper, and the kind of hunger that doesn't let you sleep in. The first week, no clients. He knocked on 40 doors, nothing. The second week, 1. A woman on Prescott Avenue who paid him $40 to clean her driveway. He thanked her like she'd handed him $1 million, because to him, she had. That $40 went straight back into the business. More flyers, better routes, earlier mornings. He treated that one customer like she was everything, because in that moment, she was. By 21, Marcus had saved $14,000, more money than his family had ever seen in one place. Then the call came. His mother had collapsed at work. The hospital bills arrived like a flood, fast, relentless, and devastating. In 3 months, everything he had built was gone. Every dollar, every bit of progress. He sat in that hospital waiting room staring at a balance of $0 and thought, maybe they were right. Maybe people like him weren't supposed to make it. He stayed in that thought for exactly 1 night, because the next morning, the alarm went off at 5 a.m. and Marcus got up. He didn't have a speech. He didn't have a revelation. He just got up, grabbed his keys, and went back to work. That moment, that quiet, unseen, uncelebrated moment, was the most important decision of his life. What followed wasn't overnight. It was years of early mornings and late nights, of reinvesting before spending, of hiring one person, then 2, then 6, of knocking on doors that slammed in his face and knocking again. By 24, he had a team. By 27, citywide maintenance contracts. By 30,
The boy who grew up with one working light bulb had built a company worth $2 million. But none of that, not the contracts, not the money, not the company, none of it felt as big as the day he handed his mother the keys to a new house. She walked through the door slowly, touched the walls, and then she found a light switch in the hallway and turned it on. Every light in every room worked. She stood there and cried, and so did he, because they both knew what that light meant.
Marcus never had a safety net, never had a mentor, a lucky break, or someone who handed him anything. What he had was a decision made quietly, alone, in a dim apartment at 17 years old, that his circumstances would not become his identity. Your background is not your destiny. Your family struggle is not your ceiling. The people who doubt you the loudest are often the most afraid to try themselves. And the only thing standing between who you are right now and who you're capable of becoming is the decision you make when no one is watching. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Because somewhere out there, there's a 17-year-old with empty pockets and a dream. And they just need to know it's possible.